Hey, what's up everybody and welcome back to News Dose, and apparently we do have a few delays to talk about today because, you know, it's 2022 and that's what you do in 2022, you delay things. However, this is a little bit different this time as Xbox is putting a hold on some upcoming hardware until they can meet their own internal targets. So we're going to dive into that a little later on in the video and whether or not it's the right decision to make. Also, Nintendo is getting a massive game tomorrow. This is actually one of the biggest releases for the entire year, being Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And as a big fan myself, I mean, I'm super pumped for this release. But with that said, unfortunately, controversy has once again hit the franchise, and maybe the Nintendo Switch as a whole this time around. Now, I know Pokemon is no stranger to this type of thing, but we're going to go over that one as well. As always, though, before we get started, if you're new to the channel, and if you do like this type of content, do make sure to hit those buttons below. I am here every single week, Monday through Friday, so do make sure to like, subscribe, and do ring that bell. It is very much appreciated, and I'll try to keep you up to date with all of the latest gaming news. Let's just go and jump right into things, though, starting off with, another delay. I did say we had a few to go over today, but this one was kind of, I don't want to say it's amusing because it's not, but I guess it's just crazy considering this game's history. And of course, I'm talking about none other than Dead Island 2. Yeah, that's either surprising or unsurprising, I don't really know by this point, but it's been delayed once again. Now, the good news here is that it's not that long this time. It's only a 12-week delay. It was originally slated to release on February 23rd of 2023, but has now been pushed back to April 28th. So again, the good news here is that it's not that long of a delay this time, and they are planning a Dead Island 2 presentation for December 6th. So you're going to see a lot more of this game relatively soon. But looking back at the timeline for Dead Island 2, I mean, it's actually crazy. I mean, this game was revealed back in 2014 at E3 with a spring 2015 launch date. Now, it's fairly obvious they didn't reach that goal, not even close, actually. And then it just vanished off the face of the earth for 8 long years until they re-revealed it at Gamescom this year with its February release date. Well, I guess they jumped the gun a little bit there because now here we are just a few short months later, and yeah, they delayed it again. Its timeline is strange to say the least. But you know, for those that have been looking forward to this game, I really do hope the wait is worth it for those fans. Again though, go and mark your calendars for its now April 28th release date. Now, Ubisoft also gave us, I'd say, a comforting Splinter Cell update. It is the franchise's 20th anniversary. Happy birthday, Splinter Cell, by the way. But they did drop a 20-minute long video today where some of the developers talked about the series and its upcoming remake. Now there's no gameplay or anything like that, but I do recommend checking that video out if you're a Splinter Cell fan. I will leave a link in the description below. However, they did include some new concept art, which is looking pretty good and everything, but it's what they said that I think was a little bit more interesting here. They did state this: it's not simply a remaster, it's being built from the ground up. We get to do all the content from scratch, fresh and ready to go. Yeah, they did say their goal is to make a top tier remake, and I say that that's comforting considering the state of the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake. That's another Ubisoft remake that's not looking all that great, and it appeared to be a lower budget remake, so we don't want another situation like that. I mean, Splinter Cell fans have been waiting for a very long time to get a new entry, and while this isn't a completely new installment, it is a remake of one of the all-time greats, so we want this remake to be treated properly. Now, so far it does sound like that's exactly what's happening here. It doesn't sound like it's another Prince of Persia situation or anything like that. As they said, they are looking to make a top-tier remake, and it's being built from the ground up using Ubisoft's Snowdrop engine, which is actually the same engine that The Division uses. Now, that's an excellent looking game visually, and I imagine it will really shine in a more linear setting like Splinter Cell. Now, they have also said in the past that they're rewriting the story a little bit to appeal to a newer generation of players, and that has drawn a lot of concern, but yeah, we'll kind of see about how all that works out. But the fact that they are taking this remake serious bodes well for fans that's been waiting for such a very long time. Let's go and get into this Pokemon situation though, because Scarlet and Violet have now been hit by controversy. Yeah, another Pokemon controversy, who would have guessed? But this time, in a way, it's been directed towards the Nintendo Switch itself. So what's happening here is that reviews are now rolling out, and Scarlet and Violet currently sit at a 77 overall score on Metacritic, which I believe is actually the lowest a mainline Pokemon entry has ever received. Now that's definitely not what you want to hear, but there's two different things happening here. The good part here is that critics really seem to be enjoying the game itself. I'm hearing that it's a lot of fun, the changes that they made mostly paid off, and in terms of its gameplay and its world, it's among the better mainline Pokemon entries to ever exist. So, what's the problem here? Well, that really comes down to some pretty major technical issues. It looks like their more open world design introduced a lot of different bugs and technical problems. Its frame rate can drop in more intensive scenes, there's a lot of pop-in, even when you're close to objects. There's also camera clipping, among several other glitches and bugs that tends to pop up. Yeah, it's got some very real problems, to say the least, with almost every review talking about these issues. Honestly, I'm actually kind of impressed that it managed to score a 77 on Metacritic considering all of the problems that it has. That's kind of where the fun gameplay in the world comes in. It's saved it a little bit here because I've also consistently heard it is very, very fun. It really is just the performance that's holding it back. Now, I have heard that it runs better in handheld mode, so you might want to try that out. And I mean, if you are a handheld-only player like myself, that definitely seems to be the direction to take here. But, I mean, this is still such a shame. I mean, I'm a big Pokemon fan myself, so I hate hearing something like this. But even outside of that, for a series as massive as this, as important as this, you want it to release in a more polished state, and unfortunately, that's just not what happened here. This is actually unacceptable for a series of this size. Now, there is different opinions on this, though. Is it because the Switch isn't powerful enough? And is that the problem here? Or is it instead because of Game Freak? I've seen people really point the finger at both sides, but I'd say it's probably closer to the middle, with the majority falling on Game Freak because, I mean, we're talking about Game Freak here. Now, I'm not completely going to blame Game Freak just because I think the Pokemon Company doesn't really give them enough time to fully develop these games to a higher standard. So I think that they are a little time constrained, but we've seen pretty much time and time again they are not technical wizards. And in fact, I'd say that there's games on the Switch that both looks better visually and then also performs better. So yeah, I'd say this mostly is a Game Freak issue, but we also can't really ignore that the Switch has been showing its age as of recent. Even when it comes to Bayonetta 3, another first-party game that's released here recently, it also had performance issues. So this is kind of another one of those signs that a more powerful console might be needed. I don't know if Game Freak will suddenly become technical wizards or anything like that, but if they have a more powerful console to work with, some of these technical problems might just kind of go away. So yeah, go ahead and bring one a Switch Pro or a Switch Successor. Let's get that ball rolling. For the short term though, my hope is that we'll get a patch soon enough to fix some of these issues in Scarlet and Violet. Considering how big this series is, I imagine they'll push out some performance updates, but I guess we'll see. Even with all this, though, I mean, I'm still super excited to play this game. And, like I said before, the good news here is that critics are saying that it's very good gameplay-wise. Now, another game that's coming back that I'm personally incredibly excited about is Perfect Dark. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Finally, Microsoft is doing something with this IP again. But there admittedly have been some questions with how its development is going, as Microsoft announced that the Initiative, their newly formed studio, and Crystal Dynamics are going to co-develop this game together. Now, as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome, because, I mean, Crystal Dynamics, they're insanely talented, and they already have experience rebooting a beloved series such as Tomb Raider. So the way I look at it is that this only increases the chances of this game actually being good. I mean, you want more talent, right? But anyways, Crystal Dynamics did talk a little bit about this situation today on an earnings call where they said this: "We're working on the iconic Perfect Dark game, and the project is going extremely well. What's been so promising internally is seeing how our team took on this opportunity, a new way of working. If we think about the future of how we work, collaboration across studios, across time zones, across geographies, across different companies, will all become more common. So it's great to see the team at the Initiative and our team across Crystal Studios working so well together." Now, the reason that this statement stood out to me, outside of the obvious positive sign that they say it's going extremely well. I mean, that's good news. But also, it's that they say collaboration in game development will become more common within the game industry. Now this actually echoes what Xbox's Matt Booty said just about a month or so ago. Almost exactly, actually. He pointed out that a lot of their games are, in fact, collaborations, such as Flight Simulator. You have Age of Empires, Minecraft Dungeons, Gears Tactics, and the list kind of goes on and on from there. I mean, that there, though, that's kind of the thing about this entire situation. I think people just jumped on a bandwagon to criticize code development acting like it's strange, but you really don't have to look very far to see that it's a lot more common than you might think. Practically every modern AAA studio brings in external support studios. Now that's a little bit different than code development, but then there's some pretty major games out there where some very prominent studios work together to make it happen. Look no further than Nintendo. Two of their most successful games for the Switch, you have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Mario Kart 8. I mean, that is the most successful Switch game. And Nintendo and Bandai Namco, they work together on those games. There's also games like Bloodborne where Sony Japan and From Software worked on that one together, or something like Death Stranding. Guerrilla Games and Kojima Studios worked on that one together. So yeah, you really don't have to look all that far. It's not an outlandish thing for multiple studios to work on a big project together. A little side rant here, but I actually get really tired of the concern trolling that happens within the game community, where people very obviously just try to create a narrative for negative press because, you know, it's on another platform. That's at the end of the day, that's really what all this kind of boils down to. If you want to be completely honest about things, it's ridiculous. I mean, it happens for all platforms, not just on Xbox. It happens on PlayStation, it happens on Nintendo, whatever. If a game is on another platform, people try to create these narratives, and it's honestly just ridiculous. I could go on for days talking about all the stupid talking points that you see out there, but this one has made a little bit more noise online, but there you go. It does seem like Perfect Dark's development is going swimmingly. Now, we do also have an indefinite delay to talk about coming from Xbox, this time for their streaming console codenamed Xbox Keystone. Now, this device is no big secret or anything like that. Microsoft has openly talked about a streaming stick, a streaming puck, or a box that can stream your Xbox games to your TV at an affordable price. In fact, we've even seen this device on Phil Spencer's shelf. Now, a device like this, though, does actually have a lot of potential if done right. But that there has always kind of been the big question. Game streaming is still not perfect. Now, I've used game streaming on things like my Steam Deck, and it actually does work pretty well. Xbox game streaming has consistently improved, but there still needs to be some improvement there still. And with a newer technology like this, there is a question on how well the mainstream audience will receive it. Now, that's really going to come down to three primary things. One is the games, and in Xbox, they already have that part covered. Xbox has a massive library of cloud-ready games, thanks to the likes of something like Xbox Game Pass. Now, the other two, though, that still kind of remains to be seen. How well is a device like this actually going to run? And then also, the biggest factor here, its price. We've talked about this a few different times on the channel, but if they can get the price right, a device like this could be very enticing. I mean, if they can get it to $100 to $150, that immediately puts it in line with some of the more premium streaming devices like Apple TV. But in addition to being able to have all your movie platforms like Netflix, HBO, and things like that, it will also be able to play big AAA games without the need of spending $300 plus for a console. That is an absolutely fantastic deal on paper. Well, according to Phil Spencer, Xbox Keystone does actually run very well. As he notes, some of the team brought it home and it worked really, really well. Unfortunately, though, price is kind of the big issue here. Phil Spencer did say that they're aiming to sell it at $130 with a controller, and so far they've not been able to meet that goal. Hence, it's currently been shelved. So, I mean, there you have it, but I guess one way you can kind of look at this is that we do now actually know the price that they're aiming for, but don't expect to see it on store shelves anytime soon. I will say this much, I do think it's the right decision for them to delay this device because that price really is absolutely paramount here. If they don't get the price right, this thing's just is not going to do well. So they have to get that price right. So I do agree with the delay here. Now, it doesn't sound like it's canceled, though. He did also say that they are still focused on it and are watching for when they can get the price right, but it's just not going to happen anytime soon. Let me know what you all think about all of this, though. Do you like the sounds of a $130 game streaming Xbox that you can plug into your TV? Or do you think the price is still too high for what it is? Let me know in the comments below. Let's go and take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet releases tomorrow on November 18th. Do you plan on picking it up? And if so, which one? As you can see here, 12% of you said yes, Pokemon Scarlet, 14% of you are going with Pokemon Violet, 8% are going with both, 17% said no but plan on getting it later, and then 48% said no, not interested. So that's actually a total of 52% of you that either plan on getting it tomorrow or eventually are planning to get one or the other. That is a significant amount of you, and kind of goes to show you the power of the Pokemon series. 52%. That might actually be one of the best results that I've seen for any game that I've put up on this channel so far. It does look like the majority of you are going to go with Violet, though. I'm going to go with Scarlet. I guess I'm just not on the cool side of things here. But my friend, he's actually going to pick up Violet. I get Scarlet, and we're just going to trade those exclusive Pokemon back and forth. Looking through the comments, though, Jacob said, I am super excited for the co-op play. I played Pokemon for years, and now the chance to share that joy I had and play with my daughter makes this game, both Violet and Scarlet, an instant buy. And you know, that is actually a really, really good point. That is one of those reasons that you might want to buy one of those double packs. You can pick up one for your kid or a friend or whomever, and you guys can play it together now because of that cooperative gameplay. I actually am really excited to check that out myself. I'm hoping it turns out well. I'm hearing good things about it. Again, the gameplay sounding really, really good for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Hopefully, again, though, they'll fix some of those performance issues. But yeah, I am super, super excited to play this game tomorrow when it releases. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.